the other. How beautiful is that, or how complex is that? Let me ask.
Well, I don't think that it's that complex. It's just a matter of being able to synergize information and to be able to see how we can leverage on that goodwill and the relationship we have with different countries across the entire region. I mean, so for countries to offer by themselves that we're willing to do this for you is something that I think is quite admirable, and it could also be to the credit of the Nigerians in those countries as well. So we need to also recognize that fact and emphasize it as well. So that being said, I believe that it's something that we need to get done and get done aggressively. Like I said, the evacuation will very likely have to be a land evacuation first, moving Nigerian citizens out of Ukraine into neighboring countries and see how we can help them from there. But I think that it is something that it's not very complicated, really. There's no reason why the embassy in Ukraine can't be cooperative, why they can't be worked with. I believe the embassy staff will still be in country, and they should be able to be of immense help liaising with the foreign ministry back here in Nigeria and see how they can also connect with the embassy in those neighboring countries. Say, okay, depending on where you are in Ukraine, because their landmass is very massive.
Yeah, it's massive.
So you can always break the country down into different zones or different corridors, saying that, okay, from this corridor to this corridor, move to Moldova, from this corridor to this corridor, move to this other nation. Of course, though, you can't say you're moving to Belarus. You can't move to Belarus, but you can also move to this nation, and then we can see how we can synergize flights to pick them up from there, or see maybe if you don't have a full load from maybe Moldova, you can pick them up somewhere else. And yeah, so it's really not that complicated, but we just have to be very serious about it, and we have to be very quick about it.
Okay.
Because things are moving very quickly.
All right. Now, with the move from the National Assembly as well as Nigerians calling, we understand that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is working with the embassy there, and they've been told in Ukraine to try to coordinate Nigerians, knowing how many Nigerians do we have here who are willing to go back home, because at times like this, you might find some Nigerians who feel, well, I'm a landlord here, so don't worry, you guys can go. I'm going to stay. Well, we're certainly going to have issues like that.
I was even about to react to that this issue of we saying you want to come and evacuate us. I'm sure it's very few, maybe the student. If you look at the kind of life these people live out there, they won't mind. You want to bring them back to the country where, as we speak, ASU is currently on strike. You want to bring them back to a country where insecurity pervades. Even those of us here are not having that rest of mind that we can guarantee that things are, well, maybe very few parents that are actually panicking. But I can tell you for free that there will be some people that say, don't worry, even in the midst of this war, we will stay here. Because at least there is hope, there is guarantee that things, maybe after a while, these countries are able to, filter out things within themselves, or even go to neighboring countries, pending when those problems will come. But I don't think average of them want to come back to this country, because there's nothing that they are going to fall back on.
Well, the point there is, in a situation of a war, nothing is guaranteed, and there's so much uncertainty. You don't know what is going to happen. So whatever move you want to make, it is best to make it now. And I like the way the Ministry of Foreign Affairs put it, like those who are willing to leave.
It's not compulsory.
If you don't want to leave, it's still okay. But if you're willing to leave, we'll make this available for you to leave, so you can come home and rest for a little while.
Well, Mike, I feel this should have been done earlier.
Yeah, you said
make this information available so that we can quickly, rather than now that they've shot the airspace and nothing is happening, and we are making
it's going to cost more to get, like he said, it's going to cost more to get organized Nigerians, transport them by bus or by whatever everything is to a neighboring country, so they can use the airport there if they have to. It's going to cost more. But let me stay with you, Sheson, in the area of the Naira here. If you see the national economy, it was seeing this thing from a different perspective. Like, oh, okay, there's this crisis there. So that crisis might strengthen the Naira one way or the other because of the increase in crude oil price. What do you make of this, though?
Yeah, in the midst of a calamity, there are always opportunities for people to tap into. And strengthening our currency, you know the current rate, we've moved as much as $100 per barrel for this crude oil. But for me, I don't consider that as a positive thing. In the sense that the crude oil we're sending, the cost at which you bring it back to this country, creates more hardship even for us as a citizen. It would have been better if we have our refineries functioning. In fact, it will be a mind-blowing thing that even people that are currently in Ukraine will join the next available flight to come to the country. But the spike in the increase of the price of crude oil is actually a problem to the nation, because the more it goes up, the cost of landing. Are you aware that currently the cost of petrol in filling station has increased from the 162 to about 173, 185 as we speak? And it's not that they are selling at black market. It's conspicuously written there. I was sure, before now, I hardly pay attention to those things. I just get there, I say, fill my time.
You just assume.
You just assume.
Yes.
But yesterday, I just entered and I looked at it. I say 175. He said, yes. You didn't even inform us. So you're saying that even the crisis we had with the adulterated fuel, the resultant effect of it is that to increase the price. The other time I was here on a particular show, and somebody was mentioning that she bought it, at the filling station for 185, and well, I think it's good. At least we are not stressing to get it. That is part of the problem we are faced with, because the higher the cost of this crude oil at the global market, the more problematic it is for us, because we are not processing it.
Because oil is a global product.
Of course.
Yes. So we face, because since we're buying and importing, we're facing the same thing any other country that doesn't have oil.
Of course.
So it doesn't make
it doesn't.
Yeah.
And in fact, the disheartening thing there is that the byproduct that you get from some of those things is a gain to the country that are buying those products, but for us, nothing to gain. The bitumen, the gel, and all other byproducts, they are just free for them. The only thing we bring back to ourselves is maybe the PMS and this thing. So to me, it's not something to celebrate.
Okay.
Even if it's strengthened, we have other way where we pay it out.
Oh, okay. Now, Dipo, the way forward on this, the point there is, what lessons do we have to learn from situations like this? Nigeria, leading African countries, being the giant of Africa, should always have a stand regarding all of these things. It is assumed that we should have a stand and be decisive the moment anything like this comes up.
Oh, well, I may talk in the ideals, but in practical reality, I don't see how we'll be leading as much. Because the first question I'll ask you is, what are our key foreign policies? Whatever we're seeing today happen between Russia and Ukraine is a matter of personal interest on either and both sides, even from the US and the NATO bit of it.
Remember Israel and Palestine too.
Yes, so it's a matter of personal interest, and what we're seeing being expressed is the foreign policy of a particular nation. That unfortunately it is coming off in a very aggressive manner, and some people have to bear the brunt of it. So the question is, what is our own foreign policy? But for me, I would say that it's very important that as a nation of Nigeria, the most populous black nation on the planet, that we're able to see how we can strategically position ourselves to be nations of relevance.
Okay, we have to leave you here now. At least the much we know, Africa still remains